Just kind of a quick overview for those of you looking at Windows Starter. Let's say for a netbook, I'm running Windows 7 Ultimate on my netbook. It works very, very well. With Starter, there's no Aero or no 64-bit version, so it's perfect for netbooks. We have our Home Basic, which is for emerging markets only, and our Home Premium. Home Premium supports Touch, Aero, it has Windows Media Center, it has all the key features. So the big question is, what's the difference between Professional and Enterprise and Ultimate? Professional does not support BitLocker or BitLocker to go. It does not support direct access or branch cache. That's the key to really the big difference between Professional and Enterprise and licensing. Enterprise requires volume license and software assurance. You have to buy it from a Microsoft partner. I'll talk about volume license and software assurance for a moment. But that's the key differences between the Professional SKU, which many of you may be using, or the Enterprise. Anybody know what the only difference is between Enterprise and Ultimate? Language? No, all the languages. Supports them all. The what? Media Center? No, it's in all of them. Licensing. The only difference, feature identical. The only difference is how they're licensed. Enterprise, you can buy single licenses. You have to activate it online. I'm sorry, Ultimate, you have to buy single licenses and activate online. Enterprise requires software assurance, volume license. Features are identical between Ultimate and Enterprise. So that's something good to remember as you're looking at different versions. Yes, different than Vista, yeah. So Enterprise, Ultimate, same feature set. We hide games in Media Center, but you can turn it on in server, but all the features are there. They're identical except for how they are licensed. Exactly correct. Yeah, it is different than Windows Vista, so that's why I take a moment and we chat about this slide.
Does the Enterprise require a volume license?
Yes, you can't even buy it. You have to buy it through a partner with volume license and software assurance.
So you need to install a server for it?
No. I mean, you'd have to have a KMS, an activation server to be able to do it, so you'd need a KMS server or something like that. But you could do that with Server 2003 or older versions. You do not need Server 2008. But yeah, you have to have a KMS or some form of activation server. Volume licensing, real quick, basically says if you buy a PC, it gives you an upgrade license where you can upgrade to Windows 7. And then if you buy volume licensing software assurance allows you to upgrade to new versions at any time. So if you buy 50 PCs today with Windows Vista and you decide 2 months from now we want to go to Windows 7, or you decide if you have Office 2007 and you have software assurance, you can go to Office 2010 when that becomes available anytime within that contract. It gives you the rights to upgrade to the newest versions when you're ready to do it, and always have whatever it is that you need when you want to move to those. So if you have questions on that, I'll be around and I'll be happy to answer that for you. Get a lot of questions on MDOP, which is part of software assurance, and it's one of the great values behind it. It's a suite of products. Application virtualization. It gives you access to AppV and MedV, which a lot of people, we have a very large portion of our market still on Windows XP, says we want to go to Windows 7. Windows 7 will run very nicely on our Windows XP machines, but we have a few applications that may not work. Well, you can shim them, you can have a developer come in and work on them, or you could virtualize them. You could use AppV or MedV. How many of you have played with XP mode? Yeah. XP mode is great. XP mode is a small version of AppV. It's based upon that same idea that you double-click an application and it opens up in just a virtualized window. You don't even realize that it's running in a virtual machine, and you're running that app in XP. XP mode is great for small businesses, 5, 6, 10 users. More than 10 users, it gets difficult because you cannot manage it centrally. AppV allows you to manage it centrally, join it towards the domain, patch it, add antivirus, and manage it. So when you're looking for a larger scale, you look at AppV and MedV. Smaller, just a few users, XP mode. And XP mode is a free download. It works with Pro and Enterprise and Ultimate, and I encourage you to download it and check it out. It's a great product. We have our asset inventory service that will go through and tell you all your machines and what they're running, diagnostics and recovery tool set, DART, our system center, our advanced group policy management, and our enterprise desktop virtualizations are all part of that suite. So I was at TechEd US this year, and I was doing a panel with some members of the Windows 7 product team. And at the end of the session, this guy raises his hand, We call upon him. And I was only the moderator, so I was not there to answer questions. And this guy says, I want to walk in on Monday and go to my boss and say, we need to get Windows 7. But you haven't told me what that one killer feature in Windows 7 is. The one feature that my boss will go, yes. What is the killer feature in Windows 7? And everybody looked at each other and went, they were stymied. I raised my hand. I'm like, can I answer the question? They said, yeah. I said, what's great is there isn't one. And he looks at me and he says, what? I don't care how it works. I just want it to work. I spent 15 years as an IT pro before coming on board with Microsoft. I just celebrated my one-year anniversary with the company. I was an MVP, 2 times certified MCT. I worked in training centers for a long time, ran my own consulting company. And the one thing that any person I'd ever worked for says, the end users go, I don't care how it works, I just want it to work. And as an IT pro, I don't care. Well, I do care how it works, but I just want it to work every time and seamlessly. And Windows 7 does that. It is not one feature, it's a combination of features. And I guarantee if I sat down and had coffee and some of those nice caramel waffles with each of you in the room, that you would all tell me something different in this product that you like or that your bosses or the people that you work for, the people that you contract for would like. Maybe it's direct access. It's the fact that when I'm in Prague, I can sit in a Starbucks and I can access all of the data inside of my corporate network without having to dial up on a VPN. Maybe it's the VPN reconnect feature. Maybe it's the fact that I can plug my mobile phone into my laptop and immediately connect to the network without having to go out to the internet and pull down drivers. Maybe it's BitLocker or BitLocker to go. The fact that I can create a policy that says every time I plug in a thumb drive, it will automatically encrypt that thumb drive for my users so I don't have thumb drives with important information, laying around in places where I don't want them. Maybe it's desktop auditing, or it's the fact that we're using a more secure browser like IE8. Maybe it's the arrow features. I love the fact I can grab a window and pull it to the left and it goes half screen and pull it to the right, and I can work with 2 documents evenly very, very quickly. Or maybe it's shake. I hope it's not shake. Shake is cute, but maybe it's search. Maybe it's the fact that my wireless connections and my wired connections are now all in one place with a troubleshooter built in. Maybe it's location-aware printing, that when I'm home, Windows 7 goes, oh, you're home. You want to print to this printer. And when I walk into the office, it says, no, you want to print to this printer. And it knows the difference between my home location and work. Maybe it's the fact I can be in a home group at home and still be a member of my domain at work and still use direct access the whole time. Maybe it's just the speed. Don't you love how quick it comes out of sleep? You hit that button and it's like ready to go right then. Connected, wired, set. Maybe it's just the efficiency of being able to move your windows around the way you want, or the capabilities, or flexibility, or the reliability of Windows 7. You guys have been running it since beta and RC. I ran pre-beta, and I was amazed. There wasn't the blue screens. There wasn't many lockups. Was it a good experience for most of you? Yeah. It was fast. It was stable. It was secure. It's not any one feature. It's the features that help you or the people that you manage and support do business better. That's the killer feature in Windows 7. It's that combination. So Windows 7, I'm going to kind of break down, and Ken's going to cover some of these pieces in a little more detail, like direct access, so there's some things I may not go into as much detail on, plus we only have so much time this morning. People don't work the same way they did when Vista came out, and they certainly don't when Windows XP came out. Let's think back about Windows XP. It's almost 10 years old. How many of you 10 years ago would go to an internet cafe and work? How many of you could afford a laptop? Because they were around $3,000 US. And you had, what, a 30 gig hard drive? They were small. 512 megabytes of RAM. You had a box and you didn't even have a flat screen. You had one of those big monitors, which if you put your dinner in front of would cook as you were working.